My name is Dr. Brie-Anna Willey. I'm a therapist and I run a private practice. I'm diversifying my income with building a coaching business, blogging, podcasting, and course creating. I get to create in my work while building a business I love, and I inspire others to create and build businesses they love too. Are you interested in being more authentic in your business? And do you want to step more into enjoying your work? Do you need help with setting better business boundaries? Do you like to nerd out about something? Or are you interested in growing beyond your current business and diversifying your income streams? Well, check out my podcast and blog for business building tips and strategies on substack.com at Dr. Brie-Anna Willey. So, welcome, business nerds. I'm interviewing entrepreneurs so we can mutually support each other in business and grow together. Today, I'm talking with Allison Bonilla, LCSW, who is a professional life strategist and work-life balance coach. Did I say your name okay, or did I
Yeah,
say that
you
wrong?
you did actually. You did. Vanilla. Yeah.
Okay, Bonilla. I like that. All right. So, how are things today? How are you doing?
I am doing well, very well. We were talking about the storms and I'm so glad to be on the other side of it, and I'm looking forward to the daylight, savings time turning around again. So I walk early in the morning, so now it's really dark in the
Oh,
morning. So I'm like, oh,
right.
a few more weeks it'll be nice and light. So yeah, things are going good.
Yeah. So, you have there are different views on that, but you really enjoy when that changes and you have some light in the morning. Speaking of
Yeah.
work-life balance, that sounds like something maybe you use to kind of help with all of that.
Absolutely. Walking is my go-to. That's my stress reduction. That's the way I organize my day. When I'm in the morning, when I get up and I stimulate my body and I walk, then my mind's organizing things like this is what I'm going to do when I get back home. I'm going to shower, then I'm going to call this person. So it's a way of just putting everything in perspective while I'm just
Mhm.
physically getting myself geared up for the day. And I love it. I hate when something interrupts my morning walk.
You like your schedule. I hear that. So first, well, I guess second question, is there anything you feel like you nerd out with? We were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, I love to learn new technology and new platforms. And it's really interesting because that going through school, that was never a thing. Science, math, geeky stuff, nah, not my stuff at all. I married my husband is a geek. He's Tolkien, Star Wars, Hobbits, sci-fi, Stargate, and he will
Yeah.
try to sit me down and talk about all these things, and then my eyes glaze over, and I'm like, oh, she was just so not interested. Now, when I talk to him about, I discovered this new platform and this is what it does, I think his eyes kind of glaze over because he's like, I'm not interested in that. But I think if I had to do it over again in terms of education, I'm in my 60s now. So if I were, let's say, in my 30s, I might really consider going back to school and learning
Mm.
some of this stuff. But I'll be honest, I'm just having too much fun just exploring it on my own. Now that I know that I can't break the internet, and now that I
Mhm.
know that nothing, no button that I press on my computer console is fatal, I feel very, very comfortable on the computer, just kind of exploring different platforms and different things that are going on. And it's fun. It's my creativity.
I love that. That's so neat. And I like that point you made that, yeah, you can't break it. And once you learn that, the fear goes away and you just start messing with it and figure it out as you go.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. Yeah, so it's fun.
Hmm.
It's fun. I would have never in a million years, if you'd asked me 30 years ago, would you be on the computer for hours and the time just flies. When you're in your creative zone, that's when you know you're in your creative zone, when you zone out. when it's like, it's been
Mm-hmm.
2 hours already. What have I done for 2 hours? And I've basically been playing on the computer, trying to figure out a new way to do a podcast, trying to figure out a new way to do videos. And oh my gosh, I press this button and I can have a background sound. Uh, as a matter of fact, when I came on with you today, if you'll notice, I have a background. Well,
It's cute.
yeah. Well, and I don't usually use this platform that you're on right now. And as I was
Mm,
waiting for you, I saw on the side it said background. I'm like, oh, they have different backgrounds. I do that on Zoom, so let me see. So I clicked around, and then I found this one. I mean,
mm-hmm.
my background right now is fine. Um, I don't think I
Yeah.
could change it now, but my background is fine. As a matter of fact, knowing that I was going to do this, I actually cleaned it up. I said, okay, let me look and see what's back there. Let me close some drawers.
Yes.
Let me clean down the countertop so it's not too cluttered. And I did all that work, and then I saw that it had backgrounds. I'm like, man, if I had known that, I wouldn't have bothered. I would have just done the background.
Yes, and I have books behind me, and I recently figured out how to do my little advertisement, which I actually changed recently. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's really
Right. I mean,
pretty.
I did all that work to
Cute.
clean it up. There you go.
Looks nice. I like it.
Yeah,
Very
but
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, backgrounds, it's good to kind of change them up, you know. It's another creative outlet too. So I love it. So tech, you nerd out with that. Very,
I
very cool.
do. Just this type of type, though. Don't ask me to write a program or draw
Oh,
an app,
same.
but just this
Yeah.
type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And would you like to tell us a bit about yourself and your business?
Mhm.
What do you do?
All right. Well, I think I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do, and I think you're going to be like, she does what I do, because that's one thing I really enjoyed when we connected, when Scott connected us. I looked at your profile and I said, oh my gosh, she's a younger version of me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've been a psychotherapist in private practice. I got my LCSW and I opened a private practice about 28 years ago. Actually, yeah, more, yeah, 28 years ago.
Hmm.
And I was blessed to have found the career that was perfect for me. Prior to being a psychotherapist, my joke with my husband was like every 3 years I changed, you know, not necessarily careers. I was in social work, but I always changed, a different version of what I was doing. I did foster care. I did
Mm,
work with uh, what's it rape victims. I did different things, but it seemed like every 3 years I got bored. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I'll go to another agency or I'll do something else.
mm,
And 28 years ago, well, I got my license about 30 years ago, and then I opened my private practice 28
hmm.
years ago, and I have not been aboard a day since then. And I love private practice, and I recommend it to other people because it gave me a lot of freedom to do the things
Hmm.
that I really enjoy doing. I enjoy working with people, but also I've been married for over 39 years, and next year we'll have our 40th anniversary, and we have four handsome adult sons.
Aw.
And being in private practice allowed me to be able to really practice what I work with people on right now, which is work-life balance. It allowed me to see that even though I loved my job, I could do it and do it to the degree that I really enjoyed and still take care of my family, which is a priority for me. So I was able to be
Hmm.
at their baseball games. I was able to, go on those school trips and, do all the things that you just always say you can't do unless you are a stay-at-home mom. But I was able to
Mm.
organize my life in such a way that I could see my clients and then I could be available for my children as they were coming up.
Yes.
So that's what I did for 28 years. I feel like I've
Hmm.
stopped raising my kids because they're all grown and gone now. So, But
Yeah.
yeah, so about 3 years ago with COVID, I closed my private practice. I had started actually exploring coaching about 5 years prior, like 2017, I think is when I started exploring coaching. But I was still fully immersed in the therapy world. But I was thinking to myself, one day, I'm gonna, want to close down, sell the practice. Maybe I'll what am I going to do? I still like working with people. Is there another way to work with people that's not therapy? And that's when I
Yes.
started hearing about coaching. I'm like, oh, do I have to go get another degree? What's going on? What is that? So
Right.
the more I explored it, the more I realized, wait a second, I have all the skill sets needed for coaching. I really don't have to
Yes.
go back to school and get another degree. Um,
Exactly.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I explored the legal implications of what exactly does it look like? How is it coaching, not therapy, and vice versa. So I got to the place where I said, I think I know what I'm doing here. So let me actually start coaching people and kind of working out of aspects of it. So I
Hmm.
started a coaching practice, Focus Life Coaching, which I changed the name about 3 years ago to Allison B Coaching. But
Mm.
and I find that I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I have since my private practice is not closed, but I haven't taken on any new therapy clients in about 3 years because
Mm.
I'm slowly discharging those people who have been on my caseload for a while, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
onboarding more coaching clients and not taking on any therapy clients and slowly transitioning because 2 more years and I'm retired. So I want to retire just doing coaching.
Oh, neat. So I have so many questions with that. That's why I like to keep these open because the questions just kind of flow as you talk. So there are so many of my followers that are interested in. Some of them want to close their private practices. Some want to learn how to market their coaching business better. And it sounds like you've learned how to effectively do that. So many questions. Where do you want to start? I mean, could you answer some of those?
I'm an open book wherever you want to start because I love those kind of questions because I kind of feel like as I've learned things, I love to share it. I really do. I have a Substack just that I put information on there. And ultimately, my goal is that professional women such as myself can be able to build these businesses that sustain them financially, but also emotionally. I want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that we are not cheating ourselves out of healthy relationships and healthy life and lifestyles because we're
Mm-hmm.
driven to produce in the marketplace because of need, because we do need money to live, or
Yes.
because of just just ambition for status or what, or just serving people. As a Christian counselor all those years, that actually was the biggest thing for me because I really come from this place of uh, you give to people. It's part of the Christian ethic. You're serving them. You're trying to help them. And I really, for a long time, struggled. That's the hardest part, and maybe we'll get there later on. That was the hardest part for me of transitioning from therapy to coaching. This whole
Mm,
idea of charging people was
yes.
something that comes so easy for me and so naturally for me. I feel like,
Yes.
wait a second, it was given freely to me. I should give it back freely. But I'm thinking to myself, I still want to be able to have an income
Right.
even after I close my practice. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, any
Yes.
questions? Feel free.
Okay, so let's maybe start with how is marketing a coaching business different than a private practice, or is there any difference?
Oh my goodness, you're talking day and night. It is very,
Mm-hmm.
very different. One of
Mm-hmm.
the main differences between a therapy practice and a coaching practice is one, therapy is reimbursable through insurances. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking at a private practice that's purely self-pay, then the similarities, aren't as different.
Mm-hmm.
They're closer. But when and I can only speak for my situation. My practice was doing well, but I was on almost every insurance panel you care to name.
Yes.
and I was being reimbursed really well. Thank God for
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, some people, and this is an industry kind of conversation. Some people get upset when you go to private pay because they feel like, oh,
Hmm.
you're disenfranchising people who have insurance. And I understood
Right.
that. As a matter of fact, I was one of the few providers in my area that took Medicaid. And I took Medicaid for that very reason. I wanted people who were low income and needed care to be able to have that. So I went through all the pains necessary to make sure that I
Yes.
could see clients who were Medicaid for many, many years. So when I moved over to coaching, as part of being able to reduce my caseload, I went self pay. And it was very deliberate because that meant I wasn't getting 20 calls a day. It meant that I wasn't being constantly asked to serve people through Aetna would call, Cigna would call, United Healthcare would call. They would all call every day long. I had
Hmm.
a secretary, and she spent 90% of her time just saying, I'm so sorry, we have no more appointments. And then people would be like,
Yes.
well, could you put me on a waiting list? When's the next availability? Well, in the therapy world, we don't really work that way unless it's like really like, okay, I have an appointment next week. But when you have clients, you don't know exactly when they're going to discharge for the most part.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
it's really not reasonable for somebody who's very depressed or very anxious or, God forbid, suicidal to say, we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, an easy way of kind of taking care of that was really just saying, I'm just going to finish up with the ones that I have that are on insurance, and I'm going to not take any more insurance. I'm going to go self pay. So
Yes.
that was a deliberate strategy on my part. So the difference between, to answer your question again, big difference is the pay structure.
Yes. Yes. The pay structure is very different. Now, how about the marketing for it? Because I get that question a lot.
Mhm.
Um, how do I market a coaching business is basically what is asked. I know how to market a private practice,
Mhm.
they say, but how do I market a coaching practice? I'm having a lot of trouble. I can't find clients, that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think the thing about marketing coaching practice is that we are not trained, for the most part, in the business area of marketing and sales. I don't know about you, but there was no course in that in my
Yes,
master's degree.
exactly. None of that. None
None
of
of that.
that. I say it's trial by fire. I had to figure it out as I go.
Yes, you and me both, and I think everybody else. There are a few people who come into this field with some element of a marketing degree and stuff. And the fact that you build healthy practices, private practices, doesn't mean that you learned how to market. I mean, we do some marketing, but a lot of our marketing is because people have a need and we have a product that they need. So it doesn't take
So it's
much to sell it.
easier,
Yeah,
or maybe not easier, but it's different.
it's
It's
much different.
we know exactly what they need. We say we have the thing. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. That actually didn't completely uh, make sense until you said that. Thank you. But yes, with the coaching, and I in my own coaching business, it's difficult to market it. It
It is,
is.
it is, it is, and that's why a lot of the gurus or a lot of the people who will talk to you about marketing and sales and of a product will talk to you about pain points. What are you have to basically people are in certain situations where they do need coaching, but they don't know they need coaching because it hasn't gotten to the point that it's disrupting their life to a certain degree. Think
Mm,
about, and this is an analogy that I've used many times. I think about therapy as remediative. It's in the medical model. There is something that has gone wrong that we are now coming in there like doctors and surgeons. We're kind of remediating or we're fixing, or well, not, I hate the word fixing, but
I
we're
know what you
we're
mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
where they're trying to pull back the damage and to help them to be able to move forward again in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Think of coaching as proactive. Many times the clients are not fully aware of what they need to do things better. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they do, but usually they're not in a real lot of pain, even though we use the word pain points. People, you can live without coaching. Sometimes you can't live without therapy,
Right.
So,
Yes.
yeah, so there's a different urgency, there's a different way of expressing it. I think the people who are best suited for coaching are the people who have some degree of, and I use this word very loosely, not in the therapy way, some degree of anxiety, but it's not anxiousness as the DSM would look at it. They're not satisfied with where they're at, and they know there's something more out there, but they're not sure how to get from here to there. And
Mm.
it could be in a relationship, it could be in nutrition, it could be in health, it could be in so many business.
Mm-hmm.
They want more.
Mm-hmm.
And a coach
Yes.
fast track it a little bit. Ideally,
Mm.
a coach should be 2 steps ahead of you.
Right.
If I learned something 2 years ago that could help you, Brie, today, I could coach you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm, an, I'm not, but if I were a nutrition coach and maybe I lost 50 pounds doing something and you are struggling with health and nutrition, I could be your coach.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, coaches ideally, and this is not a rule of thumb, coaches will coach from their strengths, um, you know, not from something that they're still struggling with, which is kind of like a pet peeve of mine. I've seen people coaching, but they're still in their place of pain in a certain thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you may disagree, but that's just for me.
No, that makes sense.
I kind of feel you
Yeah.
need to be a couple of steps ahead of the people you're actually coaching.
Yeah, that it's not as painful, at least, as it was.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, that's why I felt very comfortable with work-life balance coaching. I
Mm.
did the being a professional woman for over 30 years, raising a family, husband and kids and so forth. And I don't say this in a bragging kind of way, but I know that there are struggles in all keeping all those things up in the air and trying to make sure everybody's needs get met, including your own needs.
Yes.
And I don't know that I did it perfectly, but I know that I feel comfortable with outcomes. I feel comfortable that, hey, may not be perfect, but I think it's done well good. It's good. And how was it good? What made the difference, Allison? And I could kind of put that down. And I have met other
Mm-hmm.
women who are struggling with it. Not that they can't figure it out without me, but maybe I could
You
cut
could
down their
shortcut it.
struggle. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could shortcut it.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I look at it as just proactive. It's a matter
Mm-hmm.
of, hey, if this is a place of struggle for you, and I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, hey, let me kind of help you through some of
Yeah.
that so
I
that you
like
could be in
that.
a happier place earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're confident in that. I see the confidence. You are more than two steps ahead of your clients. You're sometimes maybe five, but you're bringing them up a little quicker than what they would have been if they had tried to figure it out on their own.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. At least that's my goal. That's my intent
Yeah.
when I work with people. I tell people, if you want coaching on your business in terms of like specific business thing, even though I've built a business and I'm happy to share with you what I know. That's not my passion. My passion is not for you to learn marketing through me or I mean, I could tell you what I do on Instagram. I could tell you what I do on Substack. I mean, it's not a big deal to me, but to me, that's not my passion. uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I listen
Mm-hmm.
when my clients talk for those pain points of, you know, the thing that just always gets me in my heart is when people feel like they're not good enough in either setting. That to me is a big pain point.
Yes.
If they're at work, they feel
Yes.
they should be home. If they're at home, they feel they should be at work. They're not doing enough to satisfy the job. They're not doing and advance their career or move their education along. They have big visions, big dreams. If only they could get their degree, but how can they get their degree when they have a 3-year-old at home? Oh, that means I'm abandoning my child. That means my husband's not going to have dinner. Is he going to
Mm.
be supportive? And they have these things that are pulling and tugging at them, and they're just in this place of like deer in headlights. I can't move forward. If I'm at home, I feel I could be doing better for my family. If I'm at work, I feel I could be doing better from vice versa. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of emotional pain and confusion. And
Mm.
I love to sit with those kind of women to say, okay, let's kind of untangle this.
Mm.
No, we don't want you for 15 years struggling. In the meantime, your kids are growing up and you're not 100% there for them. You're on your job, you're not 100% there for that. Let's see
Mm.
what can be done so that you could balance this and you could feel wherever you're at, that's where you've chosen to be, and you're comfortable with that choice in that moment.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a clear understanding of who you work with best, kind of like
Mhm.
your, I know it's the buzzword niche, but
Niche.
you live and breathe it. You know how to help them and you speak really well to them and you listen and you support them and show them how
That's it. I'm
or
very
helping them.
practical too. Yeah. And I'm very
Mm-hmm.
practical. I have a I have a low tolerance for foo-foo. I just can't be up in the clouds about things. I'm a very practical person. I I
Yeah.
I I don't want somebody who's just gonna give me inspirational cheerleader. Go, go, go. I believe in you. Yes, yes. A certain
Right.
amount of
Show me
that,
how.
yeah. A certain amount
Yep.
of that is nice. Thank you for the pat on the back, but now can we get to work? So
Yeah.
I tend to be
That
on the
makes sense.
practical side. Um, my husband says he credits the Caribbean and me for that, because in the Caribbean we tend to be very practical about things. We tend to be. There's a saying that we say, we don't put water in our mouth to say what we have to say, and my husband calls it being blunt. He says,
Ah,
so he's like, oh,
yeah.
that was kind of blunt. Like,
Well, sometimes we need that, just
okay.
cutting right through all the things and to the point.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of like coaching too, and just like in therapy, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, you know.
Right.
So I have
Mm-hmm.
always maintained that the clients who work with me, they love me to death because I speak the language they like to speak. The ones who choose not to work with me, they weren't for me, because as you see me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any facade. I am who I am, and you either love me or leave me. That's that's fine by
Mm-hmm.
me. But
Yeah.
when
It's
people
really
commit to me,
healthy.
yeah, when
Mm-hmm.
we're committed to each other, you know what my agenda is. My agenda is for you to do well.
Yeah, very cool. Well, it sounds like you kind of told us a bit about your business. Is there anything else you want to say, or maybe talking to your ideal client, and I do actually have one other question, but before we get to that, anything else you want to say about your business or that type of thing?
Well, I am doing my end of the year mini masterclass or mastermind. I've run a mastermind for 3 years now. I found that it really is a great tool to help people move forward. So at the end of the
Mm.
year, the mastermind, I call it a mini mastermind because it doesn't have the full length of the regular mastermind. It's kind of like an appetizer, it just gives you a little bit of a taste of the power of masterminds. But it's very
Mm.
focused. It's focused on pretty much reflecting on the year that we're in, which is 2024, and preparing your business, your life for 2025. So it
Mm.
caps the end of the year in a way that says, okay, I could see what I've done well. I could see what I still need to do. And are these the goals that I'm going to take into 2025? And how am I going to tweak them? What can I work on that maybe I didn't work on? It's just a wonderful little incubator for thought to think about it along with other people. So you don't get to be in your head so much, but you get to be able to express and you get to pick certain things. Not The mastermind won't solve world issues. It won't solve all your business issues, but you pick and choose. Okay, this is what I'd like to focus on for these 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd like to hear feedback on. This is my plan. This is what I'd like to do and accomplish. And you leave it feeling like, okay, I have something that I'm definitely moving into 2025 with. Maybe for my first quarter, my second quarter, I could kind of see where I'm going to go with this. And at the end of it, I also offer the opportunity to be part of a larger mastermind going through the rest of the year. So if you
Ooh.
like that and you feel like, you know what, I think I want to keep this kind of energy and I want to, you know, go through with a cohort of people that whole year for accountability with regards to certain things about my business and my life, I'd like to do that. So that's my end year. It's called Entrepreneur's Edge.
Ooh,
I,
I like that.
yeah, I want to make sure I give you an edge up for 2025.
Ooh. And I think that's on a lot of business owners' minds. How do I plan for the rest of the year? What about next year?
Mhm.
So that's perfect. That sounds like a good name.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
like
like
that.
it.
I like that. I've done it before, and I love the value that it brought to the members because they left with something tangible. They left with an idea that, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And good, I'm not up in my head anymore about this. This is something concrete that I'm going to do, and I see how I'm going to do it. I focused on SMART goals the first time I did it. This time I'm going to focus on the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we're going to
Mm.
do that and allow whatever information comes out for your business for it to be operational with another SMART goals kind of template behind it. So therefore you're able to kind of say, okay, this is concrete. I see what I could do. It's up to you after that. Do it or don't
Mm.
do it. But that's you at least know what you're going to be doing.
Neat. Very neat. So that it's like you said, it's not just kind of up in the air. They actually have some information and some data to kind of
Mhm,
move forward,
mhm.
and knowing what they want to work on.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, very
Correct.
neat.
Yeah, and it's nice also the fact that it's not by yourself. One of the things about being a solopreneur is we don't usually have a board of directors. We don't have a bunch of people to help us to kind of figure things out. What we have usually are people who work for us, who may
Mm-hmm.
not be as vested in it as we are, because our business is our baby, right? And
Right.
other people, I had a secretary for many years that God bless her. She was a great secretary. I loved her to death. However, it was my business, so I would put in the hours and I would, I'd have the sleepless nights, something happened and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. I mean, she worked and she got a paycheck, which was good. Then I have my family who love me to death, and everything I do is great. Absolutely. That's so wonderful. I'm like, well, do you see anything I could do better? No, you're rocking it.
It's like I need feedback, please. Constructive criticism, someone.
Yeah, so it's like everybody's got a different thing going on. So when you're in like a situation with a mastermind, nobody's got any, uh, it's neutral. So
Mm-hmm.
they can speak to you and say, well, like, let me ask you a question. How is that going to work with this? Da, 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 da. And they
Yeah.
can give you some feedback that is comes from, it's kind of like take it, don't take it, it's all right, it's just constructive feedback and criticism.
Yeah.
And over the past 3 years with my mastermind, I have gotten some great feedback. And some of it I took immediately. Some of it I had to sit on for a little bit because I'm like, oh, I'm not ready to take that step yet. I know you think it would be a good thing for me to do this, but I'm not there
Mhm.
yet. But I've always valued the fact that how my colleagues in the mastermind were always kind of like, we're just kind of listening to what you say your goal is, and we're just kind of throwing out some stuff that you might want to consider.
Mm. Mhm. Sounds really, really powerful.
Mhm.
And I did want to ask you a little more about, because we kind of talked about self-care, work-life balance, and I think that goes along with compassion fatigue management, but that's another thing that comes up a lot with the people I work with that I talk to. How do we manage compassion fatigue better in private practice or in our lives? Do you have any guidance or thoughts about that?
Oh my goodness, I do. I also do supervision. I supervise interns getting their
Oh,
licensure. And one of the things I talk to them a lot about is that ongoing care for self so that they could um, prevent burnout, and also that in this field you have to have a healthy balance of really loving your clients, but also being able to maintain healthy boundaries, healthy emotional
yes.
boundaries.
Yes.
And I've seen interns who've come in and they're all in and they want to take home every, child who's been abused, and they want to, just, and then I've
Yes.
seen clinicians who come in and they're just very dispassionate, and they're like, oh, yes, somebody was suicidal, but it was 5 o'clock and I had to go home, and, and I'm like, and you
Oh.
didn't follow through, and, I mean, I've
Oh,
seen some interesting stuff. And
yeah.
so, so you have these two extremes, but somewhere in the middle is that wonderful, healthy compassion that doesn't lead
Yes.
to compassion fatigue.
Yes.
And one of the things that I really, I'm a Christian counselor also. And one of the scriptures that I really leaned into for many years that helped me in terms of compassion, I have it down somewhere here. Yeah. It's Galatians 6:9. It says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up.
Ooh.
That's Galatians 6:9. And the reason that is meaningful is I think when compassion fatigue sets in, we are weary of doing good. We're done. We're tired.
Mm-hmm.
We're,
Mm-hmm.
nobody gets anything good from us anymore. Not our family, not our clients. We're phoning it in. Maybe we got to just
Mm-hmm.
make that paycheck, and we're burnt out emotionally. It's kind of like that empty cup thing. We have got nothing left to give.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to see that. I don't want to see that because I know the
Mm-hmm.
intention in which many of us come into these fields. We come in, we want to save the world. We're like, okay, there will not be another person who's homeless. There will not be another child who's abused. There will not be a broken marriage. And we come in thinking, give me the tools, teach it to me so I can save the world. And then reality hits.
We're just one person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep a good perspective to answer the question about compassion fatigue. As I'm working with my interns, I'm constantly trying to help them to balance that. You're not
Yes.
anybody's savior. Rip the S off your chest. You cannot save the world.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is apply the knowledge that you were given in the best way possible. Stick by the ethics and the protocols of what you're supposed to do with regards to your agency and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
As a Christian, I'll also say pray.
Yep.
Yeah, pray for, do as much as you can, and then ask God to cover any gap that's out there, between what you're
Yes.
able to do and what they need.
Yep.
And in terms of the self care aspect, I always say self care is not selfish because you have to have enough in you to pour it out. So, how does that get
Yes.
into you? It gets into you by taking the time to nurture yourself and your life and your spirit and your body and all those wonderful things. I told you
Mm-hmm.
earlier about me going out walking. That's self care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk, I could. think of a dozen things that I have to get done. I can easily say, I'm going to skip walking today because I need to send out 3 emails. I wanted to write this blog. I've got to get this done. Da da da. I'll take care of walking later. No.
Mm-hmm. But then you'll have less to give out later if you keep putting yourself last. So it's that balance.
It is
Mm-hmm.
that balance. It always comes back to that balance. And I had a conversation with one of my interns, actually 2 of them. Actually, it was in the same week. I had the same conversation. It was on I should have taped it and put it on replay for them. It was about them taking lunches.
That's a big one.
Very big one. Very big one. They had back-to-back clients and they were like, oh, well. And I said, nope, you will
Yep.
take lunch. You will
Yes.
take lunch. You will move from your desk. They're doing telehealth. I said, you will get up, you will stretch. And while I was doing my supervision with them, I got up and I said, okay, we're going to get up right now. We're going to stretch. And they looked at me like, seriously? I said, yeah, seriously.
I
We're
love
going to
it.
do that. So we got up on the screen and we did a little chair stretches and so forth and so forth, And I said, after a few minutes, I said, how do you feel? She's like, oh my God, I had such brain fog. I feel so much more energized. I said, and you're going to write your notes a lot faster now. You're not going to be looking at the same word 10 times, trying to figure out if it's the right word. So
Mm-hmm.
take the time to take care of yourself. Believe it or not, you will do better,
Yep.
faster if you do that, as
Yes.
opposed to taking away from your effectiveness and your efficiency.
Yes. Yes. We don't work ourselves to the point of burnout. We need to start from the beginning with good boundaries because it's hard, the work we do. It's
It is.
hard.
It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult being there for people emotionally. I used to tell my husband when I first started in this field, I said, if I was out breaking bricks or rocks in a quarry all day, you would see my muscles build, you'd see, and so forth. I said, but it's mentally, I'm breaking emotional
Yes.
bonds all day long, all that trauma. I said, I'm exhausted up here.
Yep. That's a
You know,
great way of describing that. I love that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is. So, I mean, and thank God he's very understanding. I'd come home and I'd say, I just need to veg. I need to not think about anything. I don't want to hear the news and so forth. Just put a stupid K drama on. let me alone for,
Yes.
and
Mm-hmm.
no guilt, no remorse. Just sit there, take some time, relax your brain, laugh a little bit, and then when you've had that time, then reconnect to your family, which is what I would do. So my husband was very quick to let the kids know, Mom's brain is not there right now. Whatever you
Yes.
need, come to me. Give
Yep.
her a minute. And then, after about a half an hour, I would reconnect. Because again, self-care is not selfish. And we can't use that as an excuse not to care for the needs of the people who we're connected to. We have to kind of say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I do that so I could be able to have something to pour out.
Yes. I really like that. Self-care is not selfish. We need to have that in big, bold letters. I'll figure out how to do that. Very cool. All right. Well, how do people get in contact with you? How do they reach out if they want some coaching or some support?
Okay. AllisonBcoaching.com.
Okay.
AllisonBcoaching.com.
Okay. I will also put that in the notes and try to highlight that in the video too. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about you or your business?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything I forgot to mention. I'm on Substack. I'd love for people to go on Substack and find me and subscribe. That would be awesome. It's work life in balance. In balance. Work life in
Okay.
balance. And I
Okay.
also have a YouTube channel, so subscribers there are welcome also.
Oh, I'll have
That
to subscribe. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's where you'll see all my experimentation with videos. I'm having such a fun time doing that.
It
So
is fun.
Yeah.
isn't it?
I always tell
Yeah.
people don't go there looking for a perfect video because I have not hit upon that as yet. And that isn't even my goal. I'm really just having fun putting things out as imperfectly as it is.
That's good
And
though, especially with AI. There's so many AI videos. I think it's good that we show our authenticity and our humanity. So I think keep that up. That's just my 2 cents.
absolutely, absolutely. I said that I've learned more by just doing than I've done by just kind of always. I mean, yes, you do have to learn, you do have to listen, and you do have to kind of, get some
Hmm.
information. But once I get information, I'm like, let me go try that.
I love that. Yeah, so cool. So we'll have to check you out there too. I'll drop those links. All right. Well, thank you so much for telling us about your businesses and how you help and providing some guidance. And thank you, business nerds, for listening.